everybody, I just wanted to record a quick intro for this Procreate tutorial on pop art flowers. I hope that you enjoy it, and let's get into the video. Part of the screen cut off, so I'm gonna take a quick screenshot of my iPad just to show you the tools. I don't know why it didn't record where you click on the tools, so I'll insert that and then it'll jump into the actual creation of the pop art flowers. I do go through just some of the basics for the first probably half of the video, just showing you Procreate. It's kind of a combo mini tour of Procreate and then some of the tools and then the brushes and the colors, and then we actually get into creating the piece in, like I said, in about halfway through the video. So hope you enjoy. Bye. Here's a screenshot of my iPad. When you hear me talk about the different brushes, that's this little brush here. So then I go through all the brushes at one point. That little finger that I tapped on is the blending tool. That's the erase tool. When I talk about the two papers in perspective, that's where you click to add layers and your background color. And then when you tap on the little circular icon, then you can pick your different colors. So that didn't show up in the video, so I just wanted to do a quick tour of that. I'll talk about the Liquify tool, which also didn't show up. So that's where you would go to get Liquify. And then we use the Pinch tool, which is highlighted right there in blue. And then there are some other tools within that. And then here's where you would increase the size, and then the pressure and the distortion, how much you want it to distort, how much pressure you want to have. Here, the little tool is you can share. If you click on video, oh, it is on video, then that's where you can export a time lapse. So that might be fun to post to social media, like just a quick screen recording of how you created the video. If you click add, that's where you can insert photo, text, file. Here's gallery. When you tap on that, it takes you out and go back in. And then when you hit share, that's where you can share the different things. So the top of the screen here got cut off in my recording, so I just wanted to give you an idea of what different things, like that's what I was tapping on. And then that right there is the undo button, which I'm gonna click. And then this right here is the redo button. And then when you see me resizing, like the Loom video didn't capture my fingers or the pencil or anything. So that's what I mean when I talk about resizing it off of screen versus resizing it on screen and then accidentally making a mark and then going into gallery and not being able to undo that mark once you exit the piece. So just some things that I wanted to show you that didn't get captured in the video that I made on Zoom. So hope that's helpful. Now let's get into the video. We are going to jump into Procreate today, and we are going to attempt to create something that looks like this. So today is pop art. I wanted to recreate this piece. I made this in a different video that I tried to record, and the recordings they're not coming out, so I'm trying to work with Loom on my iPad and it's not going as well as, so we're going to tap the plus and then we're going to go to screen size. You can, if I tap that, you can choose different pixel sizes for your canvas if you want. We're not worried about that. For today, we're not choosing anything specific other than the screen size here, which is the default. So the 2732 by 2048 pixels is what we are going to choose. So it comes up with a blank canvas. Let's start with just a quick tour. Here, these are all the different brushes that you get. I'll just tap each one so that you can see what you get. And for a one-time fee of $10 for a drawing / painting program, you get quite a bit. You get some fun, some fun paints and textures to try. This really is a fun program to just go through and just give yourself some time to go in and play around and not create anything serious at first. Just create something easy and get used to working with the different brushes. And let me put something on here. So here, if you tap on the two little papers that are in perspective, you can create a background color. So if you tap on background and then just tap a color that you like, you can move it around in the color wheel. There's this, there are a couple different ways you can look at the color wheel. There's the disc, which is what we were just on. There's classic, and you can adjust the different colors. There's harmony. There's background. And then this is a place you can save, like, they give you some, these are Ascend, Campfire, and Flourish. Those are some preloaded palettes, but you can see I've got a lot of like Untitled palettes. We'll just choose, you can move this around and see, you can go to like a blue and move it around. I just want something that's not white. This is Pop Art Day, so let's go with just a really, really light background. So we're going to be creating with oil paint. Let me just show you just an example of, let's see, let's go to painting, just so you have an idea. Let's do Oriental brush. Just as an example, I want you to see, so if you see over here, the size, that's the brush size that it's adjusting up and down to. So that's what it'll look like when you strike your finger or your pencil on your paper, or on your canvas, sorry. So you can make that smaller. Then if you swipe on it, it's much smaller. You can zoom in, and then you can make it really small, and then you could, you know, paint really small. Now, the other thing you can do is you can move this up and down, this opacity. But what that does is it adjusts the shade, so how intensely the color shows up. So if I press really hard, I'm pretty heavy-handed on this, so that's what it looks like pressing really hard. If I move this opacity up to 100% and press really hard, see how much blacker that is than this was here? And if you don't like something, just hit undo. So let's see. So you can zoom out or zoom in, so you can really get detailed. That you can add layers. So I'll do a tutorial on how to trace something, but I did just want you to know that you can add in layers, you can add in images, you can like insert a photo or a file, add text, that kind of thing. And this little finger tool, it looks like a little index finger, is for blending. So if you come in, it might, let me lay down a different color. Let's lay down some pink. Okay. And then we'll go to the blending tool. And to switch back and forth, you just tap what you want. The paintbrush, the blending tool. This is the erase tool. The same rules apply, like the opacity at which it'll erase and then the size at which it'll erase. I don't have the best of luck always with erasing, so I find the undo button to be better. So I'll hit undo and then I'll hit redo. That's what that looks like. So just know that like the erase button isn't as great as it looks. The undo button is a little bit better. So this is like blending which is kind of fun. You can get like really pixelated. Take down the size. I'm trying to do this with my fingers so there's not as much clicking with the Apple Pencil. We up that, and then you can pull back out and you can see where I've blended. That might be fun for like charcoal or pastels. We're on this kind of very light pink background, and we are gonna load some colors. We're gonna do oil paint. That's under painting, and then oil paint. I'm choosing this because I like it and I've already worked with it. If you want to save a color, like let's say I select this, I don't know, this green, and I really like it, then I just tap down here under Untitled Palette, you can title it, and then it'll save it. So these are the history of some of the colors that I have used, and then these are some colors that if you want to save a color, you just tap and then it saves it for you after you select it on your color wheel. Let's start painting. So pop art and flowers, we want to load. I'm going to show you how to make those. Cancel. So undo. Oh, one thing I wanted to show you actually. Let's redo that. Okay. One thing about Procreate, and I don't know a workaround for this, is be really careful. Like, let's take this full screen. I've had pieces where I've gone in and I come in and I do my detailed thing, and then I'll accidentally make a mark. And then the mark will be like really small, like that. Like that. Like picture like a finished piece. Actually, let me show you what I did it on. I've done this multiple times, and I only discover it when I post it on social media, and it's just really frustrating. So this is a piece that I did on here, so you can see you can get really detailed. But if you come in here, what you see is, do you see those yellow lines on the screen? Those were me. I was trying to, actually they're kind of all over, which was a shame, because what happens is if you like come in here and you're messing around, you can easily make a paint stroke like I did here by adjusting it. So try to adjust it on the grid. Try and, make sure it's not like the full screen, and then adjust it on the side, not on the piece, because you're more likely to make, an accidental mark. And here's why I say that, because why this is important is because it could really screw things up for you. So let's pretend, well, if you see here, I made like that pink little mark right there. Okay, let's say that's my new mark. Now we'll go to gallery. Now I can still undo it at this point, right? So I go to gallery and I go into another piece, and then I want to come back to this piece. So I come back to this piece, and if you'll notice, you can't undo anything. So once you exit the drawing or whatever you're working on, you can't undo, this mark. You can make new marks, but you can't undo like a scratch or something accidental. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're resizing this. Like, try like before you, if you're like full screen, pinch out and then try to just handle it from the side if you can, the drawing. Try not to go back in and then, accidentally swipe and then you've got some dumb mark that you can't undo. So, because we can, if you'll notice, like we went out, that's as far as I can go back on the undo. So for this, what I'm gonna have to do is start over. So screen size, and then we'll just pull it out a little bit so that we can see what it looks like. We will go here, we'll choose a background color. Just kind of, that works. So now we're going to add our paint. So we did painting, oil paint, and then we're going to come back here and we're just going to load some colors on this canvas. And that'll happen to you where you'll realize that you haven't adjusted the size of the brush, and you'll make a mark and then you'll need to change it, and that's totally fine. So just loading some bright colors since this is pop art, and trying to get as many colors, but bright colors and variety of colors as I can. So you'll see as you go through, you'll notice I added some black, but you can see the oil paint's kind of interesting because it goes ahead. I added that black, but you can see how it already blends it in for you as you lay it on top. So I added the black just for some darkness, but you can see like here it starts to get like right in there, it gets kind of muddy. Something to keep in mind if you're doing oils, but we do want like some darks, that way we've got some darker colors, that way we have some contrast. So, but we don't want it too dark because we want it to pop, because it's pop art. So and you want to fill to go to the edges of the canvas, and I'll show you why. The tool that we're going to use pulls it's called the Liquify Tool. It kind of pulls stuff, it pulls the paint inwards. You'll see what I mean when I get there. And just trying to mix up the colors. I want pink, and you know, you'll get a feel for it. It's like anything, the more you work with something, the better you're gonna be at it. I'm liking that. Maybe like an orange might be fun. Okay, so we've got some variety. So we want to have like an area where we have like multiple colors and not too heavily saturated of a color like in one area. So now we're gonna go over here and we're gonna hit Liquify, and then all you do for the flowers to make like pop art looking, maybe we'll go with this, we're going to use the pinch tool on the screen. So all you're going to do is tap, and if you notice it comes up with a circle, and see how it starts to pull in towards the center where my finger's touching the screen, or your digital pencil. You can get, I'll just let it go. Let it run. There you go. See how it pulls in and it kind of creates a flower. But if you've got like a lot of, not a mixture of colors, but like a lot of color in one area, then just it won't have that swirly look. It'll just be all one color. And the reason I said paint to the edges was if I go up here, this happened earlier on another video I did. If you wait here long enough, you'll eventually see the paint run away from the edge of the canvas. But if you don't paint all the way to the end, then you run the risk of the paint running inward too much, and then you have your background exposed. So if you want to avoid that, like if you have a white background that you're using, for example, you'll have like white showing in the corner or on one of the edges. So just keep that in mind. So then we're just tapping. I'm just using the tool to create our art. And here we're really relying on the digital tool and the colors that we selected, which is fun. So we don't have full control, like we're giving some control for the creation over to the digital part of this art piece, but you know, we're using the tools that are within this piece to kind of create these abstract pop art kind of flowers. And then you can adjust the size of the thing, so you could do like a really big one. You can make the whole thing a big flower if you wanted. So there you go. So you've got some flower shapes, and then if you want to sign it, come back over here. I would go to, let's try sketching. Just a nice HB pencil. Tap off of it, zoom in, put your outside, and then here, oops, I'm not sure. Oh, that stinks, it reset it. But Anyway, I'll go back and redo that. But you would just come here and then you just sign. I'd set it to black, but just because I like to sign in black. But I'll use something else. So I think it undid the Liquify for some reason. But that's what it would look like if you signed it. And then, since I've recorded this multiple times, here's an example of what it might look like when you're done. So that one was signed as well. So I like how this one turned out. It's nice and poppy. This is probably the one I'll use. When you're done, you can go to, let's see, you can share, if you go to video, you can share a time-lapse video. If you're going to use a tutorial, if you're going to do this as a tutorial to teach somebody how to do it, I would use a screen recording software. Whoops. That way it records the screen, because the time lapse is pretty quick. So you won't really have much time to really talk about what you're doing unless you speak very, very quickly. So if you want to export it, you hit share, and then you can export it as like to Procreate. You can do a Photoshop file, PDF, JPEG, PNG, or TIFF file. So we'll hit JPEG. It exports it. I'm gonna save it to images, and then it should be in my images. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial on Procreate. Hope you have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.